Where is it? Oh, there's Zoom. All right, very good. So for those of you out in video land, we're continuing with our reading and discussion of King Lear. Last week, we went over the scene where uh, Gloucester, who no longer can see because his eyes were put out by Cornwall, has stumbled out in the night with his servant, and he met his son Edgar, who is pretending to be a beggar man, and had quite an interesting conversation. Now we are moving on today to Act 4, Scene 2, and this starts with Lear's daughter Goneril, Gloucester's bastard son, betrayer's son, Edmund, and Goneril's servant, Oswald. And on we go. So, take it away.
So, scene 2, before the Duke of Albany's palace. Enter Goneril and Edmund.
Yes.
Okay, welcome, my lord. I marvel our mild husband not met us on the way. Oswald enters. Now, where's your master? Who's Oswald?
Who's doing Oswald?
Well, that's okay. I guess you are, Dad.
Okay. Then shall you go no further? It is the cowish terror of his spirit that dares not undertake. He'll not feel wrongs which tie him to an answer or wishes on the way.
I think you're reading the wrong part.
Yeah, I think so.
Wondering didn't make much sense.
This would start Madam. Okay, so Goneril says,
Oswald.
"Now where's your master?"
Okay.
Oswald says, "Madam, within, but
Madam
never man
within.
so changed."
Okay, Madam within, but never man so changed. I told him of the army that was landed. He smiled at it. I told him you were coming. His answer was, the worse. Of Gloucester's treachery and of the royal service of his son, when I informed him, then he called me sot, and told me I had turned the wrong side out. What most he should dislike seems pleasant to him. What like? Offensive.
Then shall you go no further? It is the cowish terror of his spirit that dares not undertake. He'll not feel wrongs which tie him to an answer. Our wishes on the way may prove effects. Back, Edmund, to my brother, hasten his muster and conduct his powers. I must change arms at home and give the distaff into my husband's hands. This trusty servant shall pass between us. Ere long you are like to hear, if you dare venture in your own behalf, a mistress's command. Wear this, spare speech. Decline your head. This kiss, if it durst speak, would stretch thy spirits into the air. Conceive and fare thee well.
Yours in the ranks of death. He exits.
My most dear Gloucester, oh, the difference of man and man, to thee a woman's service are due. My fool usurps my body. Madam, oh, sorry, Oswald.
Madam, here comes my lord.
Huh. I'll tell you what, Donna, would you like to be Albany? Okay, you have to turn on your microphone now.
Okay.
Okay, so Goneril, continue on. Enter Albany.
I have been worth the whistle.
Sorry. O Goneril, you are not worth the dust which the rude wind blows in your face. I fear your disposition, that nature which contemns its origin, cannot be bordered certain in itself. She that herself will sliver and disbranch from her material sap, perforce must wither and come to deadly use.
No more. The text is foolish.
Wisdom and goodness to the vile seem vile. Filth savor but themselves. What have you done? Tigers, not daughters. What have you performed? A father and a gracious aged man whose reverence even the head-lugged bear would lick. Most barbarous, most degenerate, have you madded? Could my good brother suffer you to do it? A man, a prince, by him so benefited. If that the heavens do not their visible spirits send quickly down to tame these vile offences, it will come. Humanity must perforce prey on itself, like monsters of the deep.
Milk-livered man, that bearest a cheek for blows, the head for wrongs, who hast not in thy brows an eye discerning thine honor from thy suffering, that not knowest fools do those villains pity, who are punished ere they have done their mischief. Where's thy drum? France spreads its banners in our noiseless land, with plumed helm thy state begins to threat, whiles thou, a moral fool, sittest still and criest, alack, why does he so?
See thyself, devil. Proper deformity seems not in the fiend so horrid as in woman.
O vain fool!
Thou changed and self-covered thing, for shame, be monster, not thy feature. Where's my fitness to let these hands obey my blood? They are apt enough to dislocate and tear thy flesh and bones. Howe'er thou art a fiend, a woman's shape that shield thee.
Marry your manhood, mew.
What news?
We need a messenger.
What to do that? I think maybe we better stop for a time because it goes on. How
Well,
much
there's
is
only
it?
one more page in this scene.
Yeah, let's proceed. It's all right. Albany, if you would please. What
Okay.
news?
What news?
Oh, my good lord, the Duke of Cornwall's dead, slain by a servant, going to put out the other eye of Gloucester.
Gloucester's eyes.
A servant that he bred, thrilled with remorse, opposed against the act, bending his sword to his great master, who thereat enraged, flew on him, and amongst them felled him dead. But not without that harmful stroke which sense has plucked him after.
This shows you are above, you justicers, that these are nether crimes, so speedily can avenge. But oh, poor Gloucester, lost to his other eye.
Both, my lord, to Goneril. This letter, madam, craves a speedy answer. 'Tis from your sister.
One way I like this well, but being widow and my Gloucester with her, may all the building in my fancy pluck upon my hateful life. Another way, the news is not so tart. I'll read and answer.
Where was his son when they did take his eyes?
Come with my lady hither.
He is not here.
No, my good lord, I met him back again.
Knows he the wickedness?
Ay, my good lord. 'Twas he informed against him and quit the house on purpose, that their punishment might have freer course.
Gloucester, I live to thank thee for the love thou showest the king, and to revenge thine eyes. Come hither, friend. Tell me what more thou knowest.
All right.
Yike.
Yeah.
You know that these scenes remind me of the adage that we learned over here that after every revolution there comes a a split. You have to have a split after you have a revolution,
Mm-hmm.
and really is what's happening here. They're all splitting up against each other.
Well, certainly Albany, Albany is turning out to be a much firmer and purposed person than he was presented in the earlier scenes where we saw him.
Remind me again, who is Albany either married or engaged or going out with?
Albany is Goneril,
He's
Goneril's husband.
Reagan's.
Goneril's husband. Thank you. Yeah,
It's,
he's certainly stiffened his backbone, hasn't he?
he has backbone, and he was presented and criticized by his wife of having no
Yeah.
backbone.
Mm.
Well, not anymore.
But
Not
she doesn't think
anymore.
a whole lot of him now.
I don't think
No.
he thinks much of her either.
Yeah.
Like here's the first line what she's talking to she's talking to Oswald. Why does Goneril call Oswald my lord? That's a little surprising to me. Right at the beginning of what we started reading today. Welcome, my lord. I marvel our mild husband, who would be Albany, not met us on the way. Oh,
Maybe she's talking to
She's
Edmund.
speaking to Edward, the
she's
new
speaking
Duke of
to
Gloucester.
Edmund.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's calling Edmund my lord. Oh,
Yeah.
look.
And Edmund is just a steward to Goneril.
Edmund? No.
Oswald.
Edmund is now the Duke of
Sorry,
Gloucester.
Oswald, I should say. Oswald.
Yeah.
Oswald, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Enter
okay.
Goneril and Edmund.
Yeah, well, I think Goneril and Edmund become a pair now that Cornwall's dead.
Yeah. At least that's what Goneril wants.
Oh, no, I'm getting confused. Goneril is married to Albany.
Right?
Yeah.
Reagan is married to Cornwall. In this scene, we will find that Cornwall has died.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened to him?
He got stuck with a sword.
Okay.
Yeah, when he actually killed the servant got a good lick in also.
Okay.
Remember
So
the servant resisted him, and then there was an argument, and then I think he stabbed the servant, but then the servant managed to get a stab in. Or there were two servants.
mm.
Okay, and then we have this thing where Oswald is giving a report on Albany. So Albany, this is great. This is great. That Albany has given thought to the matter and has now taken a stance.
Mm.
And I frankly, if I can whisper something here, I frankly think that's what's going on in the non-MAGA community right now. That the non-MAGA community in the United States is very confused, just like we're confused.
Yes.
Particularly Katrina and I, because we live in this country, and we're like, what in the hell's going on here? This is too weird. And so there's been no really decisive actions until recently. But I think there will be a lot more of Albany's thing starting to happen when enough people realize, oh, this is not going away. We're
Who's
going
going
to
to lead that, Duncan?
huh?
Who's going to lead that? I mean, when you look at the scenes on the floor of the House last night, where they're all making statements of, how terrible it was that Charlie Kirk has been murdered.
Yeah,
And then they're shouting at each other after a moment's silence.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I will tell you, I did not like Governor of California, Gavin Newsom. I
Newsom.
didn't like,
No.
I thought, I didn't like Newsom's statement myself, but it's okay. Newsom, other than that, has been very strong recently, and so has Pritzker, who
Yeah.
is the governor of Illinois. So we don't have anybody really at the national level at this point. Still the heads of the Democratic Party on the national level, which are Schumer and
Jeffries. Jeffries, is it?
Mhm.
Mitch McConnell.
yes, Hakeem Jeffries.
Hmm.
They're still pretty weak tea, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're not saying anything.
Well, we'll see. Schumer says he's not going to pass he's not going to let the budget pass this time unless the Republicans agree to certain guarantees on public health. We'll see. Schumer's always been kind of a weak guy. But anyway, the point is, I think there will be, right now it's only Newsom and Pritzker and the governor of Maryland and the governor in uh, Rhode Island, I think. But there are people starting to take a stand. Not near.
Certainly, the mayor of Chicago is beginning to take a stand as
Yeah,
much as
well,
he can.
right there we have a very fortunate thing because the governor and the governor of Illinois and the mayor of Chicago are working together.
Mhm.
And the story was today that they are going to have this will be interesting. I don't know if it'll work. They're going to have the local police forces and the state police forces stopping the ICE agents and vetting them, having them take off their mask, having them show their credentials. That would be a very interesting thing if it actually happens. But anyway, the point is I think Albany is a perfectly human character. That in a political situation when things suddenly change radically, that there are certain strong personalities that they can't they can't adjust immediately. And so this transition from being seeming very weak to suddenly coming across as a strong, decisive character is very interesting. And I think true to life.
Thought it very interesting that Trump, in his initial speech about the shooting, he didn't mention the victims. He didn't mention gun violence. He mentions Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
He was
I
never
mean,
going to he was never going to mention gun violence, Dennis.
well, maybe not, but I mean, for God's sake, there's more than just Democrats being to blame for whatever's going on. There's a time and
It's
a
a
place
mantra.
for it.
It's a mantra of his. That's what he does.
It is, yeah. The guy is nuts.
Well, he's not, and he's also in real trouble.
Yeah.
He's also in real trouble. Right at this same time, Bloomberg, very influential. That's what's Bloomberg's first name? Michael Bloomberg, who runs Bloomberg News, which is very powerful, very influential, released, I don't know, at least 1,200, maybe 2,000 emails between uh, Epstein and Ghislaine.
Mm.
Very damning emails.
Email
So,
certainly did for Lord Mandelson
Ooh.
yesterday. You saw that where the British ambassador to the US has been fired over his relationship with Epstein.
It may very well have done for Keir Starmer and his
Yeah,
decision making. It really
not
was a
sure.
very, very poor decision.
Yeah. They're,
As
they're
bad
trying
as
to
you can.
argue that they didn't have all the information when the decision was made. But
Oui.
look, absolutely any relationship with Epstein was bound to be bad news.
yeah, yeah. But I really think that Albany, Duke of Albany, is a true to life character.
Hmm. But clearly, relationships between himself and Goneril are not very good now. In fact, they're very low. I mean, what he says to her, "O Goneril, you are not worth the dust which the rude wind blows in your face."
Hmm.
That,
Right.
that's pretty much to the point.
That's right. But, I mean, maybe we should go back and we should look at that earlier scene when Albany is kind of supporting Lear just before Goneril kicks him out. And Goneril is quite vicious to Albany. And
Yeah,
Albany just takes it. He doesn't, he says a few things. Well, he is your father.
we haven't seen Albany for quite some time up to now, sure we haven't.
Yeah.
I'm
It
just
was Act
looking
One,
for the
Scene
last
Four.
Act
Act One,
One,
Scene
Scene 4.
Four, about 100 and 250.
That's a
Act
long
one,
time
Albany,
back.
scene four.
That's a long time back, Des, yeah?
it is, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, why don't you read that? So this is Albany. This is Albany. See, Lear to Kai. Let's see. There's okay. So Lear goes to Goneril. We got Lear. I think we have to go a little bit further here. So up at line 320 in my book. Hmm.
Yeah, Lear and Goneril are having at each other, and
Mm-hmm.
Albany comes in and says, "Pray, sir, be patient."
Yeah.
That's a, you know,
And Lear says to Goneril, uh, detested kite, thou liest.
it's pretty heavy stuff. That.
Mm-hmm. I'm flipping through my pages. I'm looking for when Goneril and Albany are together after that.
Towards the end of that scene, Goneril says, "Do you mark that, my lord?" And Albany says, "I cannot be so partial, Goneril, to the great love I bear you." And Goneril says, "Pray you, content." She shuts him up.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. It seems to me I do remember more of a dialogue between Huh.
between Albany and Goneril, yeah?
Between Gonorrhea, yeah, I thought there was much more of a one-to-one between those two, where Goneril was pretty harsh, but I'm not finding that.
No.
Okay, well,
Anyway,
anyway,
anyway, we are where we are now.
yeah, we are where we are now, and we do have Albany taking a strong stand, and I will have to say Albany's speech, um, the one that starts, "Oh, Goneril, you are not worth the dust which the rude wind blows in my face. I fear your disposition, that nature which contemns its origin cannot be bordered certain in itself," which is a fancy way of saying you're just crazier than a, you are so crazy. And you're crazy because you are showing such contempt and hatred to your father. She that herself will sliver and disbranch from her material sap, perforce must wither and come to deadly use.
And she just then dismisses him. No more, the text is foolish.
Mm.
And
And
he comes back even stronger.
he comes
Wisdom
back
and goodness to
stronger.
the vile seem vile. Filths savor but themselves. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. What have you done? Tigers, not daughters. What have you performed? A father and a gracious aged man, whose reverence even the head-load bear would lick. Most barbarous, most degenerate, have you madded? Could my good brother suffer you to do it? A man, a prince by him so benefited. And it just goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'd say they were heading off to appoint solicitors for each at the end of this scene,
They're going to need marriage counseling for sure.
at a minimum.
And the last four lines in that thing are just got our last five lines. If that the heavens do not their visible spirits send quickly down to tame these vile offenses, it will come. Humanity must perforce prey on itself like monsters of the deep.
And she's not being put down by any of this. I mean, she's fighting back line for line with him. Milk-livered
Oh,
man.
when she comes back, milk-livered man.
Yeah.
Thou bearest a cheek for blows, a head for wrongs. Who hast not in thy brows an eye discerning thine honor from thy suffering. Hmm. I don't see any future in this relationship.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and finish that speech though?
Okay. That not knowest, fools do those villains pity who are punished, ere they have done their mischief. Where's thy drum? France spreads his banners in her noiseless land. With plumed helm thy state begins to threat, whilst thou, a moral fool, sittest still and criest, Alack, why does he so?
See thyself, devil. Proper deformity shows not in the fiend so horrid as in the woman.
O vain fool!
Thou changed and self-covered thing, for shame! Be monster not thy feature. Were't my fitness to let these hands obey my blood, they are apt enough to dislocate and tear the flesh and bones. How thou art a fiend, O woman shaped does shield thee.
Marry your manhood, Mew. Wow,
Mm.
this is powerful stuff.
Yeah, I think I need to study this. I may need it at some point.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I think if you're using this against anybody coming up your driveway, it won't be understood.
Well, that's true. That's true.
And then Albany seems to be getting the news of Gloucester. He doesn't seem to have known about Gloucester.
Right, right. Somehow he knew about France, I think, the King of
Hmm.
France. But yeah, because he,
He's been
When
told the Duke of
the,
Cornwall is dead, slain by his servant. And then they talk about Gloucester's eyes.
Mhm.
It's not exactly politically correct. You know, Albany saying proper deformity shows not in the fiend so horrid as in woman.
Mm,
Yeah.
Well,
mm.
that's because that they expected women to be more moral and less fiendish.
Hmm.
but there just two points here. One, um, Goneril gives Edmund, the new Lord Gloucester, uh, if you where are we? Trusty servant shall pass between us. Ere long you like to hear a mistress's command. Wear this. He gives him a favor, a glove or a scarf or a something or other. But later on, Albany asks, where was his son, that is Gloucester's son, when they did take his eyes? And the
He's
messenger
referring to
says,
Edgar there, isn't he?
sorry?
Sorry, as he's referring to Edgar, presumably.
No, I think it's Edmund.
Is it?
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's
where was
referring to Edmund.
is Gloucester's son? Where was he? And the messenger said, come with my lady hither. They were an item at this stage.
Mm.
Right. Let's see.
So Edmund and Goneril have become an item?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was
Yeah, but
fast.
I'm not sure when. And I'm actually probably taking that from some film of Lear that I watched. But I
Would this
mean,
explain why Albany has been missing for so long? We haven't seen him since the end of Act One, and we're now in the middle of Act Three.
I have a note here saying, but seeing that her sister is now a widow and Edmund, whom she calls by his father's title, my Gloucester, is in her sister's company, she fears the design of killing her own husband and marrying Edmund herself may be foiled, and the castle of her imagination may fall and crush her own life, which in its present condition is loathsome to her. So she's planning to kill Albany and
Right.
run off with Edmund, according to this.
mhm.
Yeah.
But I think I don't want to give any. Well, yeah, I guess I am going to provide a spoiler. I think both the girls want Edmund.
Well, he is certainly the devious one of the males in the
Yeah,
play.
the most devious one.
The most devious one, and very decisive in what he wants.
Yeah. And the
And,
two,
now that Reagan's husband is dead,
Mhm.
okay, and now that the marriage between Albany and Goneril is obviously over, I don't think there's any going back to harmony after exchanges like this. I think it's
No,
just done.
no.
Mhm.
But anyway, speaking to the thing about the woman and Albany saying, "See thyself, devil. Proper deformity shows not in the fiend so hard as in the woman," which is kind of a way of saying, well, I expect this in men. I don't expect it in women, and I certainly don't expect it in my wife. But here we are. And then he goes on where he basically says, if you weren't a woman, I would probably tear you from limb for limb.
Mhm. So he wants to kill her.
He's saying that the only reason he's not going to kill her is because she's a woman.
Yeah.
Thou art a fiend, a woman's shape doth shield thee.
That may not be very clever on his part if she intends to kill him also. It brings me back to the question of, well, what's the agenda here? Are the two daughters planning to take over the kingdom for themselves?
Mm-hmm.
That would seem to be where they're going.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
husband down, another one between the crosshairs,
Mhm.
and and the third daughter is irrelevant at this point.
at this point in the story, yes, but I think there is the beginnings of a trial between the two ladies, Goneril and Regan,
A trial of
particularly
strength,
with
you mean?
once they're looking towards Edmund, the new Lord Gloucester,
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
power is, and the power is going to be coming around him in their minds.
But but why would you say that, Des? I mean, Gloucester is is nothing at this stage. Even before he lost his eyes, he was
He is.
he wasn't
He's
he wasn't the powerful one.
no,
Well,
but he's in the
well,
background writing letters and making all sorts of insinuations, and people act on them. Bit like
That's Ed,
Trump.
that's
well,
Edmund.
hold on. We got to make sure which Gloucester we're talking about here.
Gloucester Jr.,
Gloucester
All right,
Jr., right.
we're
It's
at cross
Gloucester
purposes.
Jr.
the adopted son,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
brain box.
Yeah, he really is the only eligible bachelor around at this point. Edgar, for all they know, nobody knows where Edgar is.
Yes.
And Edgar's kind of weak tea anyway. Um, uh, Cornwall's dead, so
Mhm.
can't be uh, can't be Reagan's husband anymore. And Albany obviously cannot be um, Goneril's
Conrad.
husband anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And both the ladies, they want to rule over the kingdom, but apparently
But
they cannot do that without a male.
But if you
why?
look at what Goneril says about her husband, when she says, France spreads his banners in our noiseless land. In other words, it's peaceful over here, but France is coming in with plumed helm. Thy state begins to treat, whilst thou, a moral fool, sits still and cries, Alack, why does he so? She really has a terrible opinion of him. He
Hmm.
won't get up off his arse and do something.
Well, from her point of view, I mean,
Yeah.
the
As
fact that
far as the as far as the push for power is concerned, Albany is a nowhere. He's dead in the water as far as this is concerned.
Yeah, but can we just go back
Which,
a little bit? Sorry,
sure.
Des.
yeah,
If we go back to Lear, and Lear's initial plan was to divide the kingdom between his three daughters.
Hmm.
He has dismissed the third daughter, Cordelia, at this stage. So, as far as we're concerned, the kingdom has been bestowed upon the other two daughters, who at
Hmm.
that point both have husbands. One
Hmm.
husband now gone. I'm really picking up the point that you made, Duncan, about they can't rule without a male, but I I'm not certain I agree with that. I think their agenda now is to rule by themselves. And okay, if they have Edmund on side, well and good. But I think he's a minor party to their plot.
Huh. Okay. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
Hmm,
I'm still sticking to my
that's okay.
statement at this point.
But they
That's fine.
probably want to breed, to have children to continue the line. So they're looking around for a suitable person to give them
Yes.
children
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
would
Okay.
have, who would also, have certain qualities that they admire.
Yeah. That's a good point.
yes, but
And since
the
they're good
premise,
beings, he'd be
yeah,
good.
the premise that a kingdom could be divided between three and stay at peace
Mm,
is nonsense.
mm,
Yes, right. That's Lear. That was Lear's
yeah.
mistake.
That was the setting of the whole plot. It was just a wrong move, bad move.
Yeah.
Yeah, really buried very deep back in this play is the idea that if you have been rough and tough enough to establish a kingdom, you are on a wild horse that can only be ridden by you until you really figure something out. And Lear's kind of going, well, I've had enough of this conquering and ruling stuff. I'm just going to turn it over to the girls.
Mm,
And this is the same thing in Kurosawa's movie in Iran. It's the same thing. The warlord, he's conquered this whole territory. He has three sons, and he decides, hey, I just want to go hunting for boar and picnicking in the countryside. I don't want to keep up this uh, iron
Well,
fist stuff.
but going back to our previous discussions in earlier scenes, had we decided that Lear really didn't want to give up power at all? This was just a methodology, if you like, that he was dividing the kingdom, but he still intended to rule, but let somebody else do the work. He was going to visit the ladies for dinner every Sunday, but and he wanted a big retinue with him as well. And so I'm not sure that he really wanted to divest himself of power.
mm.
Well, he wanted the
I think,
privileges without the responsibilities.
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it.
absolutely.
You know,
But to come back on the three girls, Regan has lost her husband.
hmm
Albany means nothing to Goneril. And the
Actually,
two of them must be aware that what's her name, Cordelia in France, is a loose cannon.
hmm
And this comes out with France making a move on peaceful England. And this is Cordelia making a move on power back home. And with the might of France behind her, the two girls Goneril and Regan. Can't be very happy about that.
Not happy at all.
No,
Very
this
unhappy.
is going to end up in a real mess, proper bloodbath of some sort, Shakespearean bloodbath. He likes those kind of things.
Well, I even more than liked it, he witnessed those kinds of things.
Yeah. Mhm.
Shakespeare came by his history honestly. He lived in an extremely bloody period of history.
Yeah.
With an incredible, Queen Elizabeth had an incredible spy apparatus. And apparently, she had one of the you know, she might have been able to contend with the current Israeli, spy agency
Yeah.
apparatus. I mean, she was pretty wicked. And Shakespeare, right from his early days, his family had to deal with that because they were on the wrong side. They were Catholics,
Yeah. Of
and
course, when Shakespeare is uh, writing for his audience, the audience were quite familiar with the fact that a woman, Elizabeth I, had been in power for
Mm.
years and did a good job of it.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
it would be quite acceptable, I would think, to his audience that the three girls would start slugging it out between
sure.
each other.
And
Um,
also that she wouldn't have a husband.
who wouldn't have
Like
a husband?
the Queen Elizabeth I didn't have
Yeah.
a husband.
She didn't have a
Yeah.
So
husband.
so they would think that it would be quite normal for someone to have not got a
Mhm.
husband anymore, but to perhaps have a good friend who was a man.
Mhm.
Because the gossip was that there were men friends, but she never married any of them because a woman would have lost her power if she married a man because she would have to be obedient to the man.
Mm.
And I guess in addition to Elizabeth, there was also Mary, Queen of Scots, right?
Bloody Mary, yeah.
Yeah. It didn't last long. Sure, she didn't.
But I think that the one way to cover up what Cordelia is doing, that Cordelia's on a little bit different level, and I think it will come out later in the play, but I can't guarantee it, is that she was coming back with the support of the French army because of rumors of how her father was being treated.
Yes, that's a very, very different approach. Yes, quite valid. Yep. I'm sure he'll come up with arguments for and against that later on.
Yeah, okay. Luster, I live to thank thee for the love thou showest the king, and to revenge thine eyes. Come hither, friend, tell me what more thou knowest. That's just a prayer? I'm reading from the very end of Act of Scene 2. Let's see, where was the sun, and when did they take his eyes? Come with my lady hither. He is not here. No, my lord, I met him back again. Know he the wickedness? Ay, my good lord, 'twas he informed against him, and quit the house on purpose that their punishment may have the freer course. And then we get a nice bit of confusion. Albany says, Gloucester, I live to thank thee for the love thou showest the king, and to revenge thine eyes. Come hither, friend, tell me what more thou knowest, which is actually a prayer, a kind of prayer. Let us see, we got 4.3D. Yeah, let us do scene 3. Enter Kent,
Yeah.
disguised as a gentleman. Who would like to be Kent? Orla, be Kent.
Okay.
Gentlemen, who would like to be gentlemen?
Okay.
Got it? All right,
Yeah.
on we go then.
This is quite
Enter
short.
Kent.
Why the King of France is so suddenly gone back, know you no reason?
Something he left imperfect in the state, which since his coming forth is thought of, which imports to the kingdom so much fear and danger that his personal return was most required and necessary.
Who hath he left behind him general?
The Marshal of France, Monsieur Lafare.
Did your letters pierce the Queen to any demonstration of grief?
Aye, sir. She took them, read them in my presence, and now and then an ample tear trilled down her delicate cheek. It seemed she was a queen over her passion, who most rebel-like sought to be king o'er her.
Oh, then it moved her.
Not to a rage, patience and sorrow strove who should express her goodliest. You have seen sunshine and rain at once. Her smiles and tears were like a better way. Those happy smilets that played on her ripe lip seemed not to know what guests were in her eyes, which parted thence as pearls from diamonds dropped. In brief, sorrow would be a rarity most beloved, if all could so become it.
Made she no verbal question?
Faith, once or twice she heaved the name of father pantingly forth, as if it pressed her heart, cried, sisters, sisters, shame of ladies, sisters. Kent, father, sisters, what of the storm and the night? Let pity not be believed. There she shook the holy water from her heavenly eyes, and clamour moistened. Then away she started to deal with grief alone.
It is the stars above us govern our conditions, else one self-mate and make could not beget such different issues. You spoke not with her since?
No,
Was this before the king returned?
no, since.
Well, sir, the poor distressed Lear is the town, who sometime in his better tune remembers what we are come about, and by no means will yield to see his daughter.
Why, good sir?
A sovereign shame so elbows him, his own unkindness, that stripped her from his benediction, turned her to foreign casualties, gave her dear rights to his dog-hearted daughters. Though these things sting, his mind so venomously that burning shame detains him from Cordelia.
Alack, poor gentleman.
Of Albany's and Cornwall's powers you heard not?
'Tis so, they are afoot.
Well, sir, I'll bring you to our master Lear, and leave you to attend him. Some dear cause will in concealment wrap me up a while. When I am known aright, you shall not grieve, lending me this acquaintance. I pray you, go along with me. They exit.
Hmm.
The gentleman speaks with very flowery language, doesn't he?
The gentleman.
Mhm.
When you saw the play, was the gentleman somebody else pretending who had been, an actor who had been somebody else in the play?
Can't recall that, Orla, I'm sorry.
So were in modern day English. Do you think would an audience be able to follow the ins and outs of it as it played on stage?
I wouldn't be able to.
I'd say you'd be depending on the artistic director to guide you through it in terms of how it was produced on stage. I doubt that any production would do it line by line like we have the text, but I could be wrong. But certainly, when I saw it some months back, it was a lot more straightforward than it appears to be now, just reading it.
Hmm.
Would it have been performed in the original?
Well, interestingly, the one that I saw had Kent as a woman, just to confuse things.
Well, there is a problem. This scene is not in some versions of Lear. According to my note, it says this scene from Q, which is some reference to some particular version, is not in F. For possible reason, and it goes on to explain possible reasons why it was omitted. And then it goes on to explain why it's put into play here. But can anybody tell me, just from this interaction between Kent and the gentleman, why the King of France has landed an army in Dover?
Ostensibly, I would suppose to support Lear in his difficulties, with a sort of an undertow of taking power, which is what monarchs did in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Using Cordelia as the excuse, if you like.
Um, or even the instigation.
Yeah.
I mean,
She might.
I like the idea that Cordelia talked him into bringing an army to France because she heard that her father was being mistreated. However, this particular scene does not support that idea because if I'm reading this scene correctly, Cordelia came with the French army to Dover. Kent gave the gentleman a letter to deliver to Cordelia. And that was the letter that explained how the sisters were treating Lear, which would imply that prior to Cordelia coming with the French army to Dover, that Cordelia had no idea or had no proof that her sisters were mistreating her father.
If I could just jump ahead on that point,
Sure.
Duncan, just to the end of the next scene, the messenger comes in and says, "News, madam, the British powers are marching hitherward." And Cordelia says, "'Tis known before. Our preparation stands in expectation of them. O dear father, it is thy business that I go about. Therefore, great France, my mourning and important tears have pitied. No blown ambition doth our arms incite, but love, dear love, and our aged father's right, soon may I hear and see him. So she doesn't seem to have any agenda, whatever, about her husband France. She wants to basically make sure that her father's been looked after. She says, "Oh, dear father, it is thy business that I go about."
My God, Cordelia is competition for the Virgin Mary herself.
Absolutely.
From the first line of the scene, where Kent asks, "Why did the King of France go back for
Mm.
no reason?"
Oh,
I mean,
right. Why the King of France has so suddenly gone back? Know you no reason?
yeah. I mean, why would he go back?
Is trouble back at home? It's an old political thing.
And the
You
cat's
should
away.
never be abroad. Something will happen.
Well, hold on. This is ambiguous to me. Are we talking about suddenly gone back to England or suddenly gone back to France?
Gone back to France, I would suggest.
France.
He's in
Yes, he
Dover.
left. Yeah, he left the marshal in charge, Marshal
Mm.
Lafar.
Oh, okay. Okay. Who hath he left behind him, General?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Marshal of France,
Marshal.
Monsieur Lefort. Monsieur Lefort.
yeah.
So clearly, the Marshal is in charge while the King of France is abroad. But
That's
yet
a,
he said the gentleman says something he left imperfect in the state, which since
No,
his
I think
coming.
he left. I think he left the marshal in England
yeah, he
when
left the Marshal
he
in England, and that's something he left imperfect in the state means, as one of you two gentlemen said, he went back because he had a problem in France.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's a
But you
separate
think that?
question.
Has
Sorry.
anybody been watching King and Conqueror?
Oh, I have a tape stuck on it. Is it good?
Well, it's just when you're talking about Dover and the Normans, and this is set back in time. So,
Mm.
in the history of England, and William the Conqueror was Norman,
Yeah.
French, and came over. But in the filming, as it is in the programs as they're happening, there are issues in France as well at the same time.
Trouble down, Bill.
A separate question. Uh, Shakespeare often makes a pun of a name, but this Marshal of France was Monsieur Lafar.
He'd gone too far, had he?
It'd be like Shakespeare to put a little meaning in the middle of that somewhere.
Yep.
The far part. Very
Well,
English.
they wouldn't have been keen on the French.
No.
That's what I would think. They would be very suspicious of the French.
Yes, you're very, very good at that. Yes, yeah, very polite.
She is.
Is Far, does anybody know? Would it be a French name named Far?
Is there a French name named
Far.
Far? I don't know, but I will do what I usually do, which is I will go, just for the fun of it, I'll go to Google Translate.
Uh,
I wonder, as it's Lafar, is it a female?
is it Far?
Lafar. I know it says Monsieur. I'm just trying to complicate it even more, Jess.
It's an odd one. I mean, it is something Shakespeare does time and again.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, the English translation of La Fa is the far.
That's very helpful.
Let's
Yeah.
see if I can do it here.
Yeah.
But okay, and here, if you want complication, do you not think that it's a little odd that the King of France would leave his new wife in England while he goes back to France?
No.
Nope. Okay.
It would be very odd if he expected her to take power in England. I don't think he'd be very pleased with that at all.
And I don't think that's in her mind anyway.
No, but it would be
Not
in
as she's
his.
presented here.
Not as he's presented here. But she does have a big army, and the others are at daggers drawn.
They are. Yeah.
But it's not her army, it's the French king's army.
Yeah. Well,
She is the queen.
True. Yet she's never referred to as Queen of France.
Mm.
Yes, it did, Kent. Did your letters pierce the queen to any demonstration of grief?
Mm.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it
I
said it
see.
seemed she was a queen over her passion.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to have to read further.
This stuff is getting more involved the further we go into it.
Absolutely.
We're two-thirds of the way through the play. I don't know what it's going to be like in another third.
But maybe it'll all be clarified for us.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, it'll unwind.
Well, the Marshal of France is the most, well, I keep getting Napoleon's marshals, but the most important person who has won victories for them.
yeah.
So if he's left the marshal there, the marshal is the person who has won victories for them. So he's the
Yes.
most significant soldier that he could possibly leave there.
Mm.
Yes. He would have full trust in him.
This whole description of Cordelia, though, is just
You're blinded by the halo, Duncan.
well, it just seems how can I say it, more sappy than Shakespeare usually
Mm.
is.
Mm, mm. Whereas she was put across to us as a very strong-willed character at the start, when
Mhm.
she wouldn't accept her third of the kingdom because she didn't want to be tested in the way that her father wanted to test her.
Mhm.
Nor would she apologize. She wouldn't
Correct.
apologize to a perceived insult.
Yeah.
But I mean, this whole thing, faith, once or twice she heaved the name of father pantantly forth as if it pressed her heart. Right,
Yeah.
sisters, sisters, shame of ladies, sisters. Anyway,
That's rather dramatic.
Mm.
it's rather melodramatic.
Yes,
Melodramatic, yes.
yes.
You know, it just would be
And she shook the holy water from her eye. That gives more inclination to the image of the Virgin.
yeah, there she shook the holy water from her arms and clamor mastered her. Then away she started to deal with grief alone. This is
Mm.
the
Poor
movie of Gone
Cordelia.
with the Wind.
Now and then, an ample tear trilled down her delicate cheek. That'll be left off the stage here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this gentleman. I think
Yeah.
he's over the top.
Way over.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll have to excuse me because I have to go.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think we're
Yeah.
actually done. And I
After
think
half
yeah,
past.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna just tentatively, we might want to look for real information here, but I mean, this is mainly just painting Cordelia as pure.
Mm.
So next time, let us begin, unless someone has other questions or comments, let us begin with Act 4, Scene 4.
Yes.
Okay.
I
Indeed.
think the King of France had to be not part of it, because otherwise everybody would have believed that the King of France had ambitions for their country.
Yes, I agree with
Yes,
you.
yeah, and they would have banded together against the foreigner.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. See you guys.
Thank
Okay.
Nice.
you.
Have a good
Bye.
Thank you very
weekend.
much.
All right, and see where we are here. Oh, I gotta go down to Zoom. Okay. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Hold on there. Okay, Des, have a good weekend.
See you.